Welcome to the lesson on line symmetry. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define line symmetry and identify multiple lines of symmetry for a given shape. You will also be able to create symmetrical patterns along the given lines of symmetry. Once upon a time, there lived a king who was very fond of getting his portraits painted. One day, he came to know of a famous painter who lived in his kingdom. The king decided to test the skills of the painter. So, he called the painter to his court. The king asked the painter to make his portrait in which the left and the right sides of his face are exactly the same. The painter accepted the challenge, but he had no idea how to complete the job. No matter how hard he tried, while painting, there were always slight differences in the left and right sides of the face. Unable to find a solution, the painter took his problem to a holy man. On hearing the painter's problem, the holy man did not say anything. He just took a chapati, drew a line in its middle, and folded one half of the chapati over the other. The painter was very happy. He had found the solution to his problem, so he got back to work. The painter took a piece of paper and marked a thin line in its middle. Then, he painted half of the king's face on one side of the line. Next, the painter folded the paper along the thin line and pressed it over the painted part. When he unfolded the paper, he had a picture of the complete face of the king. The parts of the king's face to the left and right of the line in the middle of the paper were now exactly the same. The painter took the picture to the king. The king examined the picture very carefully, but could not find any difference in the left and right sides of his face in the picture. The painter received a big award. Now, let us take a closer look at the picture that the painter made. A line running through the center of this picture divides it into two halves that are exactly the same. Also, the two halves on either side of the center line overlap each other completely. Such figures, which get divided into two halves by a line such that the two halves overlap each other completely, are said to show line symmetry. The line that divides a figure into two halves that are exactly the same is called the line of symmetry of the figure. You can find examples of objects showing line symmetry in nature. A butterfly, several kinds of leaves, and flowers show line symmetry. Examples of line symmetry can also be found in many of our ancient and modern buildings. Observe these two pictures. Which of them appears more balanced to the eye? The picture that shows line symmetry appears more balanced. This is true for all objects that show line symmetry. They appear more balanced. So far, we saw examples of several objects that have a line of symmetry that divides them into two identical halves. Now, let us explore line symmetry in some geometric shapes. Consider this kite shape. Let us see if the horizontal line shown here is the line of symmetry for this kite shape. As the horizontal line does not divide the kite shape into two identical halves, it is not a line of symmetry for the given shape. Now, consider this vertical line. Let us see if this is a line of symmetry for the kite shape. As the vertical line divides the kite shape into two identical halves, it is a line of symmetry for the given shape. If you try folding a kite in different ways, you will see that only the vertical line passing through its center divides it into two identical halves. Thus, we can say that a kite shape has only one line of symmetry. Now, consider a rectangle. If you try folding a rectangle in different ways, you will see that the vertical and horizontal lines passing through the middle of the rectangle divide it into two identical halves. Thus, we can say that a rectangle has two lines of symmetry. Now consider this equilateral triangle. All its sides are equal. Let us fold